terrific young guy, expanding his game. I would say in July he could score at the rim. Now he's moved his game a little bit. He's adjusted his shooting form. So he has a really bright future. Dougie McDaniel, he's a little, he can move. He can really move. He is a pest defensively. He's very good at picking up full court, bothering the ball. His ball has gone in the basket, and there are times when you think maybe that shot, but the ball goes in the basket. And he's a guy that thrives in competition. Greg Glenn is still a position to be determined. Is he going to be a big wing? Is he going to be really an undersized four-man? That's still to be determined. And on the last 10 days, he's become very vocal, which is a good thing, because some of our guys, the combination of the team is that it's somewhat of a quiet team. That will change, and it is changing now that they can kind of see, quote unquote, the finish line, that there are games coming up. And then Jed Howard has as pretty a stroke as you're going to find. And what I appreciate about Jet the most is his eyes. He has a really bright eye in that he wants you to coach him, but he wants you to like him. And that's okay, we can like him. We don't always have to like what he's doing on the floor, but he's a very, very likable young guy. And look, call it the way it is. For both he and Jace, it can be tougher, but they make it very, very easy to coach them, and you're really excited for their successes.
Is it possible to know at this time whether you have a team where the pieces fit and there's chemistry and they're gonna fight for one another, or do you need to be, I don't know, down at 10 at halftime in a game to really see that?
No. I think that because of the trip and because of the additional 10 practices, they are together. Now, you've heard me say this before. You don't really know until you get a little blood in your mouth, right? You don't really know if a guy's all in until he sits for a half and doesn't get minutes, and now, but everybody loved me on August the 3rd. Yeah, I love all of them on August the 3rd, but they might not help us win on November 7th. So that's clearly, that's clearly to come. I think that right now, and it starts to transfer right about now. We're about 4 weeks out maybe, where this changes from a me to a we. And the me is always in the summer and in these early workouts, because you're doing great and you want to lift them up. You don't want them to dread coming in here. Okay. Now, whether that camaraderie stays and whether we can stay with a group of great teammates, let's see how somebody deals with disappointment. And it's individual disappointment. It's not down 10, or it's not losing a game at, and I'm not wishing this on us, but if we go to London and lose to Kentucky, well, you don't want to be looking around and saying, well, that guy left the reservation, that guy left the reservation, that guy left the reservation. You have to find out now. But really, we have good teammates.
How different is year two Kobe on the court?
Well, there it is. You just said it. He's on the court. And I'm not knocking it. Like, seriously, how many minutes could Kobe have gotten? He could have played great. He wasn't playing ahead of Eli Brooks. Eli Brooks is the all-time winningest player here in Michigan history. He wasn't getting on the floor. But Kobe's work ethic is, I would say he's in here at least twice a day. He walks with his shoulders back and his head up. And somebody asked me the other day about his size. I can't really tell that, but he is, he's different. And the beauty with him is, if he's here, they're still here to get to. And I always remind him of what he said to me last spring. I said, who do you want to be like? Thinking he would think like a Big Ten player, an all Big Ten player. And he said, I want to do for my team what Eli did for his team. And I said, then you have to become the best, really, perimeter defender in the Big Ten.
Phil, when it comes to Jalen, it looked like there were some times at Princeton where he was able to get a lot of shots just because of the role he was in. Do you get the sense he can have the same efficiency if he's not getting 15, 16 shots a game?
No question about it. I don't know what his numbers were at Princeton, but I know this. He can get to the rim, and he's creative at the rim. He takes really, really good shots. He's a good outside shooter. And obviously, if you played in that system, you have an IQ. This system challenges you. And at that position, you must have a really, really high IQ. Yeah, I'm not concerned about, the proverbial square peg into a round hole with him. He can play point guard and will play point guard.
Hey Phil, in Minnesota, Juwan talked about Jason Jett sometimes matching up with each other at practice, and they're brothers and they get competitive. Have you seen their competitive nature kind of spread to the rest of the team and create more competitive, more intense practices?
No, not because of Jason Jett.
Uh-huh.
The competitive nature in our practices comes from one man, Juwan. He creates it, and he insists on it, and our players recognize that you know what, you're going to bring it. And if it's an hour and 20 minutes, if it's an hour and 40 minutes, if it's 2 hours, you are here to improve. And the way that you improve is through competition. So it's not based off of Jason Jett, not knocking, that's a pretty cool thing. And I laugh because I set up the teams for practice.
Uh-huh.
So I do that on purpose. I want them to play against each other.
What have you learned about Yusuf in a fairly short period of time?
Unbelievable. I forgot about him. His eyes, man, is he a bright, he is just so anxious to do it right. He struggled early, but he was 2 months behind us, right? So he struggled early with his perimeter shot. That's come around. He is, and the family newspapers can take this out, or blog, you can take this out, but Yusuf is a badass. And he looks like he looked like an older boy, but he's one of those guys that can really, 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 really guard, and he is dedicated to guarding. What you'll pick up when you see him, when he walks in the room, he has a smile, he's appreciative, and you have to watch those guys. Like you watch those foreign guys. Like, think about what he's given up. Like he got off a plane in Paris and met us. He hadn't met any of us, right? And then he comes here, and we got off the plane on Saturday, and he's in class on Monday, right? And even the rest of us kind of took it for granted. We threw our passports up and we walked through customs or whatever. This kid was well, what else do you have? What other documentation? And we had a bag. He had 4 bags. He was coming to live here. Mm-hmm. So I just think it's extraordinary and he's young. Mm-hmm. He is young, but he's tough-minded, particularly at the defensive end of the floor.
Which positions can he guard?
Well, he can guard both wings for sure. I wouldn't be. I'm not saying he can't guard a 4, but we just haven't seen it with the depth that we have, and really the head-to-head competition. It's Yusuf, Joey, Jet, Isaiah Barnes, Kobe, and they're kind of mixing and matching and
Could he guard a 2?
Yeah. See, I'm
Wing is a 2.
yeah, I'm not like, I just don't play that way. I don't think that way. I think who are the point guards and who's the big man? And then everybody else kind of, can you play here? So like Terrence Williams could play a wing, and he could play a 4. He could play a forward. Now, somebody might say, well, could he guard Kobe for 40? Well, Kobe, he's probably more traditional of a 2-man. So Yusuf can guard both wings, put it that way.
Why is this team, can it or will it be better this year than last year?
To be determined. Absolutely, positively, we have to become better communicators. But it's insisted on, and you're not getting in the game unless you communicate. Probably our depth will help us be a defensive team. And
Like in a sum of the greater than the parts kind of thing, or just
well, there's a lot of guys.
Options.
There's just options.
Yeah.
There's just options, and you know, when there were 2 freshmen in that top 7 guys, they're going to bump defensively. Now there's young guys in this group, but when you take a young guy like Jet and he's on the floor, and then an older guy, Joey has more defensive experiences than Jet. So I think depth, and then just the insistence from the staff that we will communicate, you know, and not communicate like, oh man, they're doing a great job communicating, and it's a home game. We have to communicate to a level that will win in East Lansing. We have to communicate to a level that will win in Charlotte against Carolina, because there's not going to be a lot of people there rooting for you. So you better have yourself tight.
conceptually, can you go back to some more of the things you did 2 years ago? I mean, you were playing a lot of 2 bigs last year, and it probably caused some problems defensively, switching, et cetera. Right?
Well, we can conceptually, like everything is in the toolbox right now. You know, if you said, "Are you going to switch?" Yeah, we're going to switch. Are you going to switch 1 through 5? Well, would we switch Hunter onto? You know, I can't even think of a guy, but you know, this kid Hepburn at Wisconsin. Are we going to? No, probably not. So would we switch in that game 1 through 4? That's all on the table. And right now, playing against each other, we have, you know, different ways to go after the post, and we haven't even touched zone yet, but our hope is to be more aggressive defensively and less kind of sit back. If you look at our steal rate, we're low. We're a low turnover forcing group.
Joanna's pretty emphatic that the team will be a better three-point shooting team. Is that something you've seen, and what makes you think he's so confident with that?
Well, first of all, we shoot the ball an awful lot in practice, and some of the numbers are we chart everything. So start with Hunter. Hunter's a better three-point shooter today than he is, you know, than he was last year. Now, we would all be fired from malpractice if Hunter goes out there and takes 9 threes in a game. So that's not, you know, that's not a craze. But leading three-point shooter last year was Terrence Williams in 18 minutes. So if his minutes go up, do his shots go up, and does his percentage at least stay the same, right? Joey Baker can knock it out now. We think that Yusuf eventually will knock it out as a three-point shooter. Jed Howard, it's a pretty stroke. Has to go in. Jalen Llewellyn can shoot the 3-ball. Kobe's worked really hard at it. So, yeah, I don't disagree with that, but let's see it. You know, when the other guys have a different uniform on than you have, let's see how we shoot it then.
Also, maybe might the spacing be such this year without 2 bigs, like sort of like John was referring to? Maybe you do go 2 bigs at a few times, but Hunter in Minneapolis was talking a little bit about this year how it might be a little more 4-and-1, and then if defenses sort of collapse on him, a little more open looks. Can that all play together?
I think that, like, Hunter's a lot of things, right? But the thing that we really have not oversold is he can really pass, right? And we just did a thing yesterday. A company came in and showed us his usage rating. His usage rating was like top 5 in the country. So the ball is going there. In a game today where nobody says, well, you can't post up anymore. Well, that's not what Juwan Howard believes. And we you know it. Like, Hunter gets his touches. and he gets his touches because he's a willing passer. So, yeah, space will be different. Now, counter that and say, well, if your space is different, can you still be a good offensive rebounding team? Well, guys are going to have to fly to the glass. Kobe Bufkin's going to have to fly to the glass. Isaiah Barnes have to fly to the glass. Terrence Williams, right? Biggest bucket in the Tennessee game last year was what? A tip-in by Terrence Williams. So we have to make sure that we just don't say, oh, yeah, we're in the modern era because we space the floor and we shoot the three. We have to get on the glass. And Hunter, because of so much traffic, is not going to be an elite offensive rebounder. But somebody on our team or some buddies on our team are going to have to be elite offensive rebounders.
Defensively, rebounding was probably a strength for you guys last year, but Musa and Devontae were both really good, I'd say, defensive rebounders, replaced by smaller players maybe, or not as much nose for the ball. Is that something that you need to, if you potentially play smaller?
Yeah, it's two-way players. Like Terrence Williams has to be a two-way player, and Kobe Bufkin has to be a two-way player. Jed Howard has to, get a bloody nose. You're going to have to rebound. You're going to have to rebound. Not any one guy, but we have to be a group rebounding team.
Juwan was pretty outspoken the other day about the idea that Doug and Jalen could play at the same time. I guess, what have you seen from that look so far, and I guess what are the pros and cons of it when those two are on the floor together?
We utilized it in Europe, and without much practice time in that pairing, because going into Europe, they just went head to head. And in Europe, it was interesting, and we haven't gotten as much practice time yet. And some of that would be, we have to make sure that third point guard can run some stuff and help us with things, whether it's Cooper, Smith running the other team. But they can fly around. I know one thing, with the two of them in the game, the ball's going to end up in the lane. Like they're going to get in the lane. And they're also, going to feed Hunter because you have to recognize your star has to be your star. So.
Phil, Juwan was talking a lot about Kobe, about his work ethic, and I can remember last year, an hour before the game, Kobe be getting up shots at once by the tunnel entrance like no other. Can you talk about his work ethic, putting on the weight, and how much will that weight impact, you think, him on contributing this year?
Well, I'm not a great one on, because I see them every day, does his body look different? I just like his posture. He carries himself with his head up. He's bright-eyed. And when you go back to last year, he's playing behind Eli. He's a McDonald's All-American from in-state. So he hunches up. I get it. I understand that. The hardest thing to be is a local kid and not play, right? And it's hardest on the coach because it's never the player's fault. Like when he goes to see his fellas, yo, man, they're dogging me. It's just fact.
Yeah.
It's just fact. But he is relentless in not just being in the gym, but we're not allowed to peek out there. But if you peeked out there, you would see him working on things. But it's not us out there feeding him the ball or that kind of thing. He's driven to be great, not just be good.
Phil, what's your sense of what drives Hunter at this point in his career? I mean, he's proven himself at this level, but what's left for him?
Hunt loves college. He loves the college experience, and the other thing that he has really embraced this year is that he loves being an elder statesman. He speaks to these guys. He'll speak as often as Sadi or HRI will speak to his teammates. This is what's expected. And the other thing that, if you're not here every day, one of the beautiful things about Hunter is he allows himself to be coached. So his relationship with Juwan Howard is maybe nothing that I've ever seen. But Hunter every day expects to be coached. He accepts being coached, and he really does. He Hunt, tomorrow's a big football game. What do you have? Like, are you appearing somewhere? What are you doing? Or you got an NIL deal? He goes, I got a lot of places to be. I got a lot of places to be. And I said, Hunt, just don't get into anything. So I just laugh at him. But I'm glad he's on our team, man.
With Yusuf, given the uniqueness of the recruitment, not really, going to a bunch of his games and practices, getting to know him in person, I guess actually now being with him for a little bit of time, is there anything that surprise, I guess, good or bad, that's just different than what?
It's just his eyes. When you see this kid, like, God, there's joy in his eyes. And just so we're real clear, like, his name is Yo-Yo, but a term of affection in Philadelphia is Yo, so I've shortened it. I just refer to him as Yo. That makes him an unofficial Philadelphian, and he laughs. And I say it every day, and even I get tired of hearing myself. He laughs. I appreciate him laughing.
Thanks, Will.
Thank you.